Hi there, I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. Typhoon Ampil strengthening pretty significantly over the past 12 hours. Is actually Dvorak analysis kind of showing this with it going from a modest tropical storm up to a full-on not only typhoon, but a fairly strong typhoon with this annular shape around that circulation. A pretty clear and defined eye as well. A little bit of dry air kind of edging in on the northern periphery as it nears mainland Japan. And I do anticipate definitely impacts here along coastal areas of Kanagawa over towards Chiba. Good news, it looks like that inner core of the destructive weather is going to stay just offshore. This isn't going to be like Faxai from about 5 years ago, but still enough to for sure have impacts, delays in trains, cancellations for schools and things like that here on our Friday. So let's break down this forecast. But before I get into it, I do want to say big shout out to everybody who's been supporting something personal with me here just over the last 24 hours. Just want to say a big thanks for all your hopes and prayers and everything. If you follow me on social media, you know what I'm talking about. But here, still doing these updates. I guess it's just one way to keep my mind busy, especially talking about typhoons and stuff. So yeah, just wanted to address that real quick if you're curious why I'm here doing this update. Anyways, get back to it. Just check out my Facebook page if you're curious what I'm talking about. These are the things you need to know with this storm system, though. Ampil has become a very strong typhoon, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. Expected to intensify even more so. JTWC says maybe even a Cat 4, so we're talking about borderline super typhoon. Tomorrow at its closest approach, it will be passing just around the Kanto region, where you could see more than 150 millimeters of total precipitation. Obviously, things like power outages, localized flooding, and stuff like that, definitely a possibility here, with the worst of the impacts being there along coastal areas of, the Kanto. So we're talking about Chiba, upwards of 300 millimeters is possible. You're looking at those winds coming in from the north, places like Yokohama as well. And some of my worries is more so over towards Yokosuka as those winds kind of flow in from the north. So if you're talking about like that coming across the bay, and I'll show that in graphic form here in just a second. Tokyo about 2 to 250 millimeters with those 80-90 kilometer per hour winds, definitely enough to cause some train delays and localized flooding. Not very pleasant. It's one of those days where if you show up at the train station, it's probably gonna be a lot of red on the billboards. I've been through plenty of those where you have those impacts from these storms. Not even a direct landfall. It's just going to be kind of these tropical storm strength bands on the west side. The good news, it's not going to be stalled out. So this is going to move by fairly quickly as we go ahead through Friday. So this is just actually by Friday afternoon, just offshore of the East Coast. Still, winds of 165 to 170 kilometers per hour. That's a strong typhoon, but the worst of the weather is in the right front quadrant. That means, just offshore. And I hope there's no boating issue. I don't know what the military is doing or anything, but hopefully they didn't decide to sortie, because then you're just driving right into the belly of the beast. It's hopefully everybody's staying kind of put. Still going to be rough in that left side of the storm. Those winds kind of come in from the north and push the winds offshore, but yeah, places like Kagoshima, Nijima, in coastal areas of Chiba Prefecture, all the way up until about Sendai, looking at tropical storm strength conditions here. And this is a good graphic kind of showing you what I'm talking about with the right front quadrant. You can kind of see here that area in the dark red indicating that 120 plus kilometer per hour winds. Most of that, most of that is staying well offshore. So, if you're looking at that and you're thinking a super typhoon's coming, once again, always know that, the max of those core winds is in a narrow band in some of the worst parts of the storm. Now, not to say nothing's going to happen. Tropical storm strength conditions can surprise people. I've been through tropical storms where you get the worst of it and people are like, this is a tropical, 100 kilometer per hour winds, or if we're talking about knots, 50 to 60 knots is still considered damaging. That's a severe threshold for severe thunderstorms. So yeah, it doesn't have to be at the 64 knots to have some damage out here. So just keep that in mind. Bear that there is going to be some pretty decent gusts with this, even though it stays offshore. The worst of the seas, though, that's like 20, 25-foot seas. They're in the darker red. Like I mentioned, it's just offshore. But you're still going to be seeing some pretty decent swells and large waves along our coastal areas. So for a Friday, rain at times in Tokyo, going back to 1 to 200 millimeters, maybe even more than that of total precipitation. Still going to be windy. I think 44 is on the low end of the threshold, but for sustained winds, that still is pretty high here. And then winds back off drastically as we go ahead into Saturday and Sunday as it pulls away from Japan, and definitely much drier, vastly improving conditions as we go ahead through Saturday and into Sunday as this one kind of kicks off there towards the east. So yeah, gonna continue to keep you guys posted. Like I said, this is just keeps my mind busy talking about these storm systems. So I'll do my best to keep you posted, but despite that, I still talk about it because of all our support on Patreon, that like and subscribe button and everything. So thanks guys for just continuing to support this channel. I can't thank you enough for that. All right, so yeah, hopefully everybody's staying safe. Hopefully you if you're out here in coastal Kanagawa, Chiba, that includes my friends like in Zushi, Kamakura, more so Yokosuka, all the way up along the coast of Chiba. Hopefully you don't have many plans here on your Friday and you just kind of let it go by. It may not be the worst, but I think there is going to be banding at time here that might surprise you just a little bit. You'll be like, oh, not a full-on typhoon. That's when you really got to hunker down. But I think there is going to be times when you're like, oh, all right, this is messy. Anyways, stay safe out there. I hope I helped a few of you guys out today. Just prepare for this storm system.